As you guys know by now, my debut album will be coming out very soon on August 16th in just 2 weeks. And to celebrate that, I thought I'd do a breakdown of another track of the album, the second single that we'll be releasing prior to the full album coming out in 2 weeks. And this single is out today, the day this video goes live. Let's go into a full studio and we'll break down single number 2 from my debut lo-fi album. Okay, so similar to the first song, this is a collaboration that I did, and it is a collab with my good friend Late Night Tones, who is a huge inspiration for me, not just in the tracks that he puts out, but in his work ethic and seeing his growth from a small kind of independent artist to an artist who's now been featured on Lo-Fi Girl and is racking in around about 500,000 monthly listeners. So it's such an honor to get to work with Late Night Tones on this track. So I started off here with just some really sleepy, kind of slow, drawn out chords, starting with a D sharp major chord. Then going into this C major 9 chord. Back into a D sharp major. This time with a suspended 2. So instead of playing that G note, we're playing this F note. So it's actually a suspended chord. And then back into our C major. This time just playing the 1 and the 5. And then that repeats with a slightly different pattern at the end there. So let's take a listen to how this sounds all together. And on that piano, all I've got is a low pass filter cutting out some of those highs. Once I had my chords, I knew what scale I was working in, so I added this drone. This is using the Azure piano from Labs, my all-time favorite drone sound, just playing an A sharp and an F, the 1 and the 5 of our scale. And if you've been following the channel, you probably know what I worked on next, some form of an ARP. And this time I created a piano ARP because I wanted to leave the guitar for Late Night Tones to really do his thing. So then I just added this D and A sharp piano ARP. And by not using the root notes of our scale or the root note of the chords, it just adds a little bit of tension, which is really great for building emotion and yeah, kind of building some intrigue in the track. For both of my pianos here, I'm using the Imagiro Piano 2. We've dropped the tone on both of them to about -7, which just gives it a really lovely, warm sound. From there, I added a really simple bass, just following the root notes of our chords, and this is using the Labs Opia sub bass, one of my favorite free sub bass plugins. So just following the chords, just super simple. And then finally I built in some drums. So we just got a kick, snare and hi-hat pattern. Was going for something really slow, really sleepy here. So I just kept this really simple, nothing else going on. From there, I just did a little bit of arranging to give this a little bit of structure for Late Night Tones to work towards. And then I reached out to Late Night Tones. He agreed to be on the track. I actually reached out to him via TikTok. I sent the track over and very quickly he sent me back this amazing track. I did make a few tweaks to what he sent over, but nothing really too much at all. We still got the drone, we still got the piano that I added. That's the walking sort of ARP piano, bass, kick, snare, and hi-hat that I added. And then everything else was added by Late Night Tones. So let's just go through this from the start and see what was added. So Late Night Tones actually recorded a second piano part for the track, which is just this intro piano here. So it's got that really nice filtered classic sort of lo-fi sound, kind of really gritty, just works as sort of the intro to the track. And then that just comes in with our drone to introduce the track. And then at that point you hear the piano ARP that starts kind of fading in at the start there in the intro, along with a couple of drums that were added. So we've got this reverbed snare that comes in, a couple of extra kicks, and some extra hi-hats. From there we get into the first sort of hook of the track, which isn't too different to how it was after I wrote it. There is an additional shaker that's added here, just adding some nice ambience in the background, along with the first guitar part that Late Night Tones added, and that is these just gorgeous guitar slides. I could just listen to those all day. They've got a really gorgeous, ominous feeling to them. And then on those, I added some pannings that actually move as they sweep. And then at that point, we get an introduction to what Late Night Tones is absolutely stellar at, and that is laying down just these gorgeous guitar melodies. So we get this first guitar melody that comes in here. And then we get the full melody in this second guitar part here. And you hear those two guitar lines really working with those guitar slides just to build out this amazing soundscape that Late Night Tones put into this track. After all of that, we move into the bridge of the track where Late Night Tones switched back to his filtered piano from the intro and then added a filtered guitar line also. And then also a filtered snare that you can hear in the background there. And then finally we go back into the hook with everything happening. Late Night Tones added this really special sounding guitar 3 that comes in just for the outro of the track. I'm just going to play you a little snippet of that here. Now, things that I did after Late Night Tones sent this over to me, I added some of that guitar with a little bit of filtering into the intro. It just gives you a little sneak peek of what's coming later on in the track. And to be honest, that's pretty much it. I added a little fade out on the master, added this little intro with just the drone to start the track. I feel like that just keeps the track really cohesive with the rest of the album, which is something that I was really aiming to do with this album. So that's pretty much it for this track. Like I say, the track is out now. I will drop a link in the description to this video. You want to go and stream the track on Spotify or wherever you listen to your music. It is out now. This track is called Empty Space and is released with my good friend Late Night Tones on Lo-Fi Cafe Records. This is the second single from my upcoming debut album. If you haven't already, go and watch this video where I'm breaking down the first single, which was a track I released with Project Air a couple of weeks ago, and you guys seem to really have enjoyed that track. I'm hoping you'll enjoy this one and the rest of the album just as much. Shout out Late Night Tones for agreeing to be on the album with me, and yeah, see you next time.